Hey, what's up everyone? Thanks for checking out my channel, Dance Music Tutorials, and subscribing. So in this video what we're going to be looking at is a drum roll build-up in a song that I just created called Soundflux. And actually this is really in response to a couple people who were asking me about the drum roll build-up in this track. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that right now. So what I did was I actually opened up the track in Apple's Logic Pro, created the song in Apple's Logic Pro, and what we're going to be focusing on the tracks that are actually soloed, as you can see here. And what we're going to be doing right now is just looking at the snares and kind of just listen to everything. We're going to listen to everything first with the solos off, and then we're going to come back and I'll go over and explain exactly what I did to make it sound this way. So here it goes. Okay, so that's what it sounds like, and now what I'm going to do is just go over each track and explain to you exactly what I did to make it sound that way. So we'll go ahead and solo the tracks. So I'm going to solo the albino snare clean. This is actually a crash. Okay, this is also snares. And let's see here. What else do we need? Oh, the drum build. Okay, so I think that may be it. Let me just look and make sure. Oh, and one other one here. This is like a really low sub bass. So this is what it sounds like without the rest of the sounds. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the snare track. So this is the albino snare. Okay, and let's open it up. Piano roll. Okay, so it starts off, as you can see, each note is kind of spaced out, and they're all evenly spaced out, but you just have a, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? And then the next set is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and then even faster. So the gaps between each note is getting shorter and shorter and shorter until there's really no gap, which is the end of the roll. Okay, so you kind of get the example there. Now what we're going to do is look at the second snare track that plays along with this, which comes from Ultrabeat, and this is what it sounds like. And again, it's basically the exact same idea. Okay, now listen to them together. So what you hear now is actually you hear one going, then the other one going. So they're going with the same concept, so they're just against each other. So you'll hear one snare, then you hear the next. You hear one snare, then you hear the next. So you'll hear the albino clean snare. You hear this first, and then you hear this one. So albino first, and then the classic techno. But the thing I did differently here on the classic techno snare, which is the second one, is that it plays out a little bit longer before it actually speeds up to the next section. So here goes. So you can hear the albino snare is already getting quicker, but the classic snare actually is still going at the same rate. Okay, and when the albino snare actually goes quick, or really quick, is when the other snare, the classic snare, actually picks up. Classic techno kit actually picks up its pace. So, go ahead and play that again. Okay, so here it goes. It's picking up. Now it's picking up even more. That's it. So the next thing we're looking at is the actual kick drum that I used. So it starts off right on one, okay, and then there's a space here. I actually muted these other drum tracks out here and shortened the length of the sound, so the bass drum didn't just spread out really far. So there's a difference. You'll hear it. So you can hear how the drum is stretched out when it plays from a short to a long. So it'll go boom, 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 boom. That's why I muted them, because I didn't want them to stretch out like that. So I'll mute those because I don't want it to be long. I want it to be short and quick. Again, the same concept. Now, this drum beat actually doesn't go against the original albino snare. It actually goes exactly on note with the original albino snare. That was the first snare that I showed you on the videos. Faster. Even more faster. And then really fast. And then the last note on that snare roll, you can see I stretched it out, so I wanted to have more emphasis on the end of that snare buildup, that drum roll buildup. I wanted it to actually, be like an explosion, right, and then a break where I have a few other sounds playing, and then the sample, and then after that everything just kicks in really hardcore. So that was the idea. And then let's see here. Let's go ahead and open the crash, which is here. And I put the classic techno crash, and you see I stretched it out. So another thing I did, I used overdrive on this, and then I also put some reverb on this. I wanted it to actually use the platinum verb here. I wanted it to kind of have a little bit more effects on the crash, so to give it a little more sound and kind of fill that gap between the break between where the drum roll stops, and then I have a few sounds playing, and then where the song actually kicks back in. So okay, so you can hear the reverb on the crash, And the very last thing I did was I added in, to kind of also help put more emphasis on the ending of the drum roll and that there's a break there. And just to give it some more fullness, the sound, I also added in the, it's coming from the Ultra Beat, and that's the classic electro kit. And I used a really low sub bass. So this is what it sounds like. Okay, so that's basically how I did my my build-up. So we're gonna go ahead and just solo the bass line now and some of the other sounds. And I'm gonna start the drum roll from the snare build-up exactly from here. It's the analog warm bass sound. Also, one other thing I want to point out is that I added in hi-hats, and they're called, it's the fast hi-hats, and all they are is just a straight hi-hat, one right after the other, which also helps speed up the sound of your track. Okay, so that's the video on the drum roll that I put together, or the so-called epic drum roll. It's kind of old school, but I really like it a lot, and it still brings a lot of good taste and style to music. So thanks for checking out my channel. Thanks for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. I'll be making more great tutorials like this to help you out with your productions. So thanks again, and have a great day.